Have you ever experienced a situation where your duelist has a negative KD, sits at the bottom of the scoreboard, and starts flaming you or the entire team, refuses to entry first, or even goes to lurk? I'm sure everyone is familiar with such players. As a Sentinel main, I encounter these players quite often. But have you ever been in their shoes? When you've entered the site first multiple times, got some kills, got traded, only to find out that your teammates didn't follow you in, didn't throw a flash, didn't smoke off a choke point, and so on. How often have you told your duelist that they should be the first to enter the site because that's their job? And how often have you flamed a duelist for being at the bottom of the scoreboard? We all know that the role of a duelist is to enter the site first, kill everyone, and in general, they're almost the only player who is supposed to secure kills in the game. But what if I told you that not all duelists sitting at the bottom of the scoreboard are playing badly? Undoubtedly, there are people who inherently play poorly, and when they take on the role of a duelist, things get even worse. But today, we're not talking about such players. What if the person playing as a duelist does almost everything perfectly, but still can't manage to kill anyone? You might say that's impossible because if they're doing everything nearly perfectly, then they should be getting frags as well. Not quite. There are games where you do everything right, but you're up against a well-coordinated team. Recently, I took on the role of a duelist, specifically Reyna. In 2 games, I played with more than a 2 KD ratio and naturally won them. But in the 3rd game, I was up against a coordinated team, while I couldn't expect any help from mine. It was at that moment that I started to wonder why it is that I do everything right, but still can't kill anyone. The answer was right there on the surface. While I was trying to get kills on my own, I was hit by stuns, flashes, all possible abilities and enemies. And as a lone Reyna in this scary world of initiators, I couldn't do anything.
Oh! Nice.
What's the most impactful role in the game? You might think it's the duelist, since they get a lot of kills, take control of territory, and try to carry the game on their shoulders. But by that logic, wouldn't it be enough to pick 5 duelists and win the game? No, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. I believe one of the most important roles in the game is the initiator. I'm sure you've encountered players like this. Often, they're the ones playing breach. Before you even have a chance to react, you're hit with a stun, flashes, and then Neon or Raze rushes in, wiping out half your team. It's the initiators who help their duelists gain a significant advantage in duels against other players. This is exactly what players tend to forget, that each of you has a role in the game, and you need to fulfill it. The initiator is like a tag-along. They should always stick to their duelist, staying close and helping them create an advantage. The smoker is someone who watches over the players from above, so to speak. They help their initiator by blocking the enemy's vision, allowing the duelist, and eventually the rest of the team, to enter the site or pass through choke points. Sentinel is a special role. It's passive when playing on defense and active when playing on attack, as it allows you to lurk. This is a simple concept that you've been told many times, but many players still don't play as a team. If your initiator, say breach, stuns the most popular positions, throws 2 flashes for the entry, the smoker puts down smokes on the choke points, and the sentinel is lurking, your chances of winning the round increase significantly. And if your teammates follow the duelist, spread out across the site and take key positions, your chances of winning the round are much higher. And this is exactly the main problem with many games and players. We seem to be playing together, on the same team, sometimes even as a duo, trio, or stack. But often we still end up playing individually, and all the interaction boils down to smoke mid and throw me a flash.
Dream has all the
I'm not
luck.
saying that every game needs to be turned into a VCT final, spamming info, and playing at the level of EDG, but simply entering the site with 4 people and not all watching the same position. That's exactly what's needed. Don't be afraid to suggest rounds to your teammates, make calls, try to get them motivated, because every game can be won, and every game can be lost. That's all from me.